but I'm just getting started. Got my eyes on the target. Love, love. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. They say I'm dangerous 'cause I broke all the cages. No, I will sit and take it. No.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Today is March 11th, 2024. It is 6:48 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Hello, Amy is first one. Oh, I don't even got my did I got my camera? I didn't have my camera on. I think I turned it off. Hello, Amy. Good to see you. One love. Hello. Angela, yes, it was. I need to make you a mod here in a minute. One love, good to see you. Who's next? Who's next? Let's see here. Tar Heel, Honey Elder, Carla, good to see you. SL. Who else we got? Honey Elder. Drew, good to see you. Debbie, good to see you. Hello, hello. Spirit. Let's see here. Black Skies. Hello, my dear Anna. Hello, sweetheart. Estelle, One Love. Let me get down here. Stephanie, hello. Hey, Sarah. Shannon, Kelly K. I see you, Queen Bee. she's the Queen Bee here. Alibaba, not Alibaba. Ali, how do you pronounce it? Alibi? Alibi? So he said it. I don't know if it's Kelly K, Clover Stitch, One Love, hello, K9 Canadian Mama Bear, hello, Sweetsies, Shannon, Carla. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for joining me. So there's this case that is out here, and it's a little boy. Oh, thank you, K9. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you. Really, thank you. Really do appreciate it. I've been working behind the scenes quite a bit. I'm getting ready to work. I'm working on a website right now. So we'll have a bunch of cool stuff coming soon. I apologize for this light that's like right here. I have my blinds closed and then I still have my lights on and everything. And it's still, I don't know if it's like a reflection. I don't know what it is, but thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. it is a very sad case. So, did anyone ever see Paris Hilton's documentary that she made talking about the camps and these alternative schools? Put a 1 in the chat if you ever saw Paris Hilton's documentary. It came out, I wanna say 2, 3 years ago. Um, thank you, Jackie. Oh, thank you, Carla. You ever seen that, okay, so it's my halo, I don't know about that. Okay, so a lot of you have, okay, okay. Yeah, Regina needs covered. It's not an extremely, it's not like an extremely popular case right now, but it needs more attention. It certainly needs more attention. Hey, Dutch, good to see you, honey. Robin, Lisa, hi. JPG, Miss Piggy. Hey, Selena. Justin, the SDA do these schools deep in the wilderness. I researched and found them in Tennessee. Yes, yes, we're going to talk about them. There is a new documentary on Netflix. Can't remember what it's called, but I remember the Catch Me Outside girl coming out speaking on something. That's okay. Positive vibes. You just listen and chillax a little bit. Hey, butterfly kisses. Why was he sent there? Okay, well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. The program. Okay. So these parents pay tens of thousands, in many cases, of dollars for a month, each month, to send their child to these camps. And many times they, you know, promise that, or claim at least, that they're going to, come back better human beings, right? Your kid's a little, you know, you think, he or she needs some help, some work. They offer counseling and all of this. And it's no, yeah. Now a lot of people love these kind of camps. But if you watched Paris Hilton's documentary, which I recommend, it is on YouTube, FYI. It is on YouTube. Yeah. So what happens is generally two men will show up in the middle of the night. They'll wake you up in the middle of the night. You have no idea what is happening. And they say, "Hi, you're going with us." Two strange men pack your bags. We're leaving. And usually your mom or your dad or both are standing at the doorway, and they say, "You can do it the easy way or you can do it the hard way." And usually the hard way involves handcuffs. They will take you against your will. Absolutely will take you against your will. Yes. And this happened to Paris Hilton, believe it or not. Paris Hilton. Now, if you are older like I am, you've watched The Simple Life. It was what, the late 90s or early 2000s it came out. And right before all of that took place, Paris went to this type of camp. And they're in every single state in America. Every single state in America. Boot camp, they don't usually say boot camp. they usually call it something like a retreat. It's kind of not, it's the wording, right? It's the wording. It's not like, instead of saying used, people will say pre-owned, right? So yeah, it's a boot camp in my opinion. It's more than that, really, in my opinion, but that's just me. They, in my opinion, break these children's souls. The place is like hell. Yes. Yes. So what happened in this case? Hold on, I need to. Miss Piggy, thank you so much for becoming a member, my dear. I really, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, please welcome Miss Piggy. Thank you, Miss Piggy. Welcome to the Justin Pearls family. Welcome to something. Welcome. Just welcome. It's abuse, plain and simple. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Paris is. I'm a huge fan of Paris. In fact, I did tweet her about this. So hopefully she sees this and knows more about this. So, anyway, so a boy, 12 years old, 12 years old, people. His mom, I don't know if dad, sends him to a retreat in North Carolina. We do not know this boy's name right now. We just have his initials is all we have. And it is a camp called Trails Carolina. Let me pull this up for y'all. There's a lot to this, y'all. There is a lot to this. Let me mute this while a commercial goes by here. Okay, here we go.
Going to follow. The state is now providing active oversight of the investigation at a Transylvania County wilderness therapy program where a 12-year-old died. In a letter today, the state warned Trails Carolina cannot take new admissions until the investigation is complete and must discontinue the use of a sleep practice while the investigation is ongoing. You better believe investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert uncovers more about how the boy was found and why investigators call it suspicious. And we do want to warn you, some of the details revealed are disturbing.
A total of 23 pages detail what two Transylvania County detectives found at Trails Carolina February 3rd. According to the warrants, when detectives arrived, the 12-year-old was lying on the floor in the bunkhouse, naked from the waist down.
So this 12-year-old was at this location less than 24 hours. Less than 24 hours, and the 12-year-old is dead. Found, clothes off. Now, the timing is suspicious. But when they said what time they checked on him, and he had an anxiety attack at around midnight. Well, an anxiety attack, you and I know that this will not unalive you. You may feel like you're being unalived at the time, but physically, it does not unalive you, an anxiety attack, right? I've got these documents. We're going to read them here shortly.
His pants on the floor near his shoulder. Counselors couldn't explain how that occurred. A CPR mask covered his face, but he had also foamed at the mouth, causing detectives to question if he was poisoned. The warrants state the boy was loud and irate when he arrived, refused dinner, but ate snacks. He stayed in a bunkhouse described as a square structure made of wood. According to the detectives, Trails Carolina protocol for the first night is to sleep on the floor in a small tent or bivvy, collapsed on one side and held with a flex pole at the other. Inside the bivvy is a sleeping bag, and on the zipper of the tent is a small alarm that goes off when you exit. According to a
Does anyone know what a bivvy is? It's like a tent sleeping bag. Let me show you what a bivvy is. This is it's. Let me show you what a bivvy is real quick. This is a bivvy. Can you see it? You get the idea? That's a bivvy. It's like a sleeping bag, but it's got like a tent thingy around it, right? And like what? Like a lean-to. I don't know what that is, Reese. I'm sorry. Low bivvy shelters are low-rise tents that include mesh panels attached to the head opening, plus poles or hoops that lift fabric off your face. Now, what I have heard, someone just said a bear burrito. Well, from what I have heard that has been alleged, speaking of kind of like a burrito, they will wrap you up so tight. Like, you know how you swaddle a newborn? If you've ever had a newborn, you swaddle them to make them feel secure. They kind of do that as well. There is alarms on these bivvies. And if you get out, an alarm goes off. That's like a prison cell. I'd panic too, Donna. I'd be claustrophobic as hell, zipped up with a lock. Please don't ever send your kids to one of these things.
A counselor, around midnight, the boy experienced a panic attack.
Very important. Very important in this timeline. So they're saying at midnight, a counselor said the child, the 12-year-old, had a panic attack. Well, what? Can you imagine being taken out of your house by two men, thrown in a van, and saying, "See you later, honey. Have a good time. We just paid $30,000 or ever how much it cost." I'd have a panic attack too.
Two
Angela.
counselors stood along the wall, but didn't mention if they assisted. The counselor told detectives the boy could exit the bivvy at any time, but when he described it to detectives, he stated, "We would open or close the bivvy." The boy was checked at midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., and was found dead at 7:45 a.m. The warrant said.
Okay. Very important. Very important right there. Let's think of this timeline for a minute. We have midnight. They checked on him, but they said he could leave at any time, but they also said they could open it and close it. They would have to open and close it at any time. They said they checked on him at 3 a.m., 3 a.m., and 6 a.m. Okay? But at 7:45 a.m., they found this 12-year-old dead. No pants on, foaming at the mouth, and petechia, which is the blood vessels. Usually a lack of oxygen will cause this. and you can get it anywhere on your body, but generally with suffocation, it happens in your eyes, around your face, particularly around your eyes, like your. But so if he was alive and checked on at 6 a.m., they found him at 7:45 a.m. You can get it from crying, but you have to be crying really, really. I mean, this is, you have to have a lot of lack of oxygen for it. If they checked on him at 3 a.m., they say he's alive. 6 a.m., they say he's alive. An hour and 45 minutes later, it's 7:45 a.m. His legs are bent up in the air, right? They find him like that. He's cold, and rigor mortis has set in. Rigor mortis has set in. Now, I can tell you, working at a funeral home, used to work at a funeral home, that whenever you die, it takes a good while for you to completely be cold. You are 98 degrees, right? And you are heated from the inside all the way out. So it takes some time for you to become room temperature. And it's not that we get cold, it's just that we get whatever temperature our body is, whatever the temperature, the atmosphere that we're around is the same temperature our body gets. But it takes a minimum, and I mean minimum, of 2 to 3 hours for rigor mortis to set in. Generally 2 to 4 it starts. Now, if he is sleeping on the floor, which is what they do the first night, their words, not mine, and he is, sleeping on a concrete floor or whatever, and he's cold, it's, you know, the mountains of northern North Carolina, it's gonna take longer for rigor mortis to set in. Even longer. I agree, Criminal Med. I do not believe he was alive at 3 or 6. I think something happened at midnight. And there's some foul play here, in my opinion. There has to be, in my opinion, some foul play. Yes, they make him sleep on the floor, Stephanie, in a bivvy. All right.
Say when detectives in Transylvania County DSS tried to talk with 4 kids in the bunkhouse, Trails Carolina staff refused. Staff also refused to disclose their whereabouts. The camp has
So they're not letting the children speak to the police, allegedly, is what they're saying. And they're not the company is not saying where the staff was at this time. Why? Why? You promise to take care of these children like they are your own. They are paying you tens of thousands of dollars. You don't expect your kid to come back in a body bag, much less the kid dies pretty much in a body bag. This is wrong. This is wrong, and there's a lot of questions to this.
Has 4 locations, 3 in North Carolina and 1 in South Carolina. In a statement, Trails Carolina claims their staff have fully cooperated with local law enforcement's investigation and that our students have cooperated to the extent authorized by their parents. According to the camp, children were moved to protect them from seeing what was happening, not to avoid investigators. Trails Carolina is conducting its own investigation. Trails Carolina maintains there is no evidence of criminal conduct or suspicious acts. Warrants show detectives seized 26 items from 2 Trails Carolina locations, among them a sleeping bag, a tent alarm, the boys' belongings, and more. Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Sorry. Wouldn't be alive if I didn't mute. So there is a Trails Carolina survivor group on Facebook. There is only 9 in the group, myself included. It shows you that nobody's talking about this, but people need to talk about this. This is a child's life. Now, I want to read you some of these reviews. Yes, guys, please hit your thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up on your way in here, if you don't mind. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. This review says, I can't believe people actually pay these places for torturing, abusing, and even killing their children. This is how much it is on their website. Tuition is based on a daily rate of $715 per day for our youth groups ages 10 to 13, $675 for adolescents groups 14 through 17. We request that the initial deposit cover the first 42 days plus the enrollment fee of $4,900. Yep. Now, I also want to tell you that this is not the only child that has ever died on this camp's watch. In 2014, there was another kid that was found dead in a creek. The child's hip was broke, and they said he died of hypothermia. But we're going to get to that. A 12-year-old boy is dead after 24 hours spent here. He was found unresponsive, foaming of the mouth, and he was in the stages of rigor mortis. With his pants and underwear off of his body, he was in a bivy sleeping bag. The reviews here are horrible. Children are being starved, tortured, and made to do things that the body just can't keep up with. If your body is not trained to do so, do not send your children to this camp. People are leaving. This was 8 months ago. 1 star. Please do not send your children to a place like this unless you can deal with the inevitable regret. It causes lifetime scars. Your children will be treated like animals. 11 months ago. Liars, liars, liars. We were not taken care of. We were not given adequate access to personal hygiene. This place is an absolute joke. It's been 4 years since I've been there, and I still have not forgiven my parents, nor do I think I ever will. The response from the owner, they respond. And their response from the place is, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Flynn, and sorry to hear you feel that you didn't have access to hygiene. At our base camp, students have the opportunity to shower every other day and access to typical bathrooms daily. While backpacking, there isn't running water in the beautiful natural setting. However, we do set up hand washing, face washing, toothbrushing stations. In addition, students are provided with personal wipes and encourages a clean to clean their privates daily. Moreover, every couple of days we create some warm soapy water so students can do more extensive cleansing. Note that staff too are to use the same methods for cleaning while backpacking, and that is standard protocol for anyone who is at our backpacking trip to beautiful natural places. Martha says 7 months ago, it's disgusting. People are even rating higher than a star, that people are even rating it higher than 1 star. This place is the worst. It's manipulative and abusive. They did not care here. They abuse and ruin your children. This is not a helpful place. A year ago, I went to the trails in summer of 2021. It sucked. We only got a certain amount of food every day, and we only got to talk to our parents on video call once. I was there when a worker called Shelby and Parker, they would yell in our faces and cuss at us. I had a kid in my group with braces. He had some problems with them, so Parker decided to get tweezers and tried to fix it. He was yelling to stop, but Parker never did. There was a few good workers there, Kyle and Kia, and your children here, please. I'm begging for the life of your child, do not send them here. They get neglected. They go days or sometimes a week without food. When your children sent you a letter, their therapist looks at it, edits it, and then goes weeks or months without a shower. And many have died due to this horrible camp. We need to get it shut down. There is several of these. It may be the same camp I watched with some girls. Staffing not trained. Didn't the 8 passengers lady Ruby Frank send her oldest boy? I think so. Something like that, yes. Yep. Yep, I believe so. Let me pull up some stuff here. A 12-year-old is dead because of this. I've got some photos of also someone writes on Reddit, Trails Carolina taking down reviews, question mark. I noticed today that when I search Trails Carolina, the reviews I saw from a week ago are all gone. I was wondering, how are they able to do that? Last week, in light of what has been going on there was a huge amount of new reviews with survivors detailing their experiences. I'm not seeing any of these reviews now when I sort by the newest. I've only ever heard of companies being able to take down fake reviews, but a lot of these were from former survivors from Trails Carolina. How are they able to get Google to remove it? Question mark. I left a review a week ago and can see it when logged into Google account, but when I open the reviews incognito, mine is also gone. I'm very confused as to how they are doing this because I've heard Google doesn't normally care about, the reviews. If you're someone who happened to leave a review, you might want to check if it's gone, says the guy. Now, this is Trails Carolina website. This is their website. And, it seems like, a little wholesome. Looks real wholesome, doesn't it? Does the camp blow smoke up these parents? Angela, good question. So I know that there have been parent reviews where they said that the staff members allegedly lied to them. Yes, it is up. Still up. So if we go here, it says program overview. Healing families through wilderness adventure therapy. Call now. The belief that a wilderness setting enhances the benefits of therapy. The belief that practicing and applying the lessons learned in the wilderness to everyday situations promote lasting change. The belief is that the child and family benefit when the family is part of the child's therapeutic process. 90% of students showed improvement in extremely significant symptoms of anxiety and depression 12 months after graduation. Isn't that precious? Why are children dying? Why are children dying? Yes, Bob. Yep. Why are children dying? That's the question. Because I know that their parents is full of anxiety, that is for sure. You see this, take the assessment, schedule a call, admission. Let's look at the tuition. And from what I was understanding is the tuition, or sorry, they get therapy about once a week. Well, don't know yet. 1-800, don't know yet. But we're going to get more into it. I'm trying to find the okay, we've got the 911 partial, the 911 transcript here. And I want to show y'all that. Um was I don't think that was it. Give me 1 second, y'all. I don't know what I did with it. But this cannot be happening. There have been several kids, from not just this camp, but a lot of different camps throughout, you know, time that these children have died, including this child right here. This was another child that died in 2014. His name was Alec Lansing. He was 17 years old. And it said autopsy, missing teen fell, broke hip, died of hypothermia. Now, in my opinion, if you are at a camp and you are gone away more than a couple minutes and not accounted for, I mean, they got away. This child got away and broke a hip and died of hypothermia. I think this needs to be reinvestigated, in my opinion. But this is Adam Lansing, 17-year-old. He had been missing since November 10th. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office said that the teen walked away from the wilderness therapy camp called Trails Carolina. The sheriff's office said Alex had been seen by a convenience store clerk a few miles away from the camp, but they were unable to confirm that Clark had actually seen Alec because of the technical difficulties with the store video equipment. A massive search effort for Alec and state officials conducting nearby cold weather exercises volunteered in the search effort, but they were still unable to find the teen. Alec's body was found in a stream on Saturday. Investigators believe he climbed a tree and fell into the stream below, breaking his hip in the process. I'm not buying it. I still don't buy that, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. I'm trying to find that transcript, y'all. Give me 1 second. Where the hell? This is really sad. This is really sad. I'm going to show you this. There's a letter that this boy wrote. Where the hell am I? Former campers describe harsh introduction to Trails Carolina. Excuse me. The 12-year-old who died last month at a North Carolina wilderness program for troubled adolescents spent his first and only night there on the floor of a bunkhouse. His sleeping bag was inside a small tent with an alarm pinned to the zipper, rigged to go off if he tried to get out, a staff member told authorities. That's worse than a jail. That's worse than a jail. At least a jail, you have 6 feet and a toilet. This, you're in a sleeping bag with an alarm that goes off. But why was he half naked? That's the question. We're going to, look a little bit more into that in just a moment. Just crazy. He had been, quote, loud and irate, end quote, when he arrived earlier that day and had refused to eat dinner, the counselor told detectives, adding that the boy had a panic attack just after midnight. The counselor said staff checked on him twice before discovering him unresponsive at 7:45 a.m. with his pants and underwear lying next to his shoulder, search warrants stated. Now, there has been allegations and lawsuits of SA from other former pupils there. Little else is known about the boy's brief time at Trails Carolina in Lake Toxaway, and his cause of death is still under investigation, but interviews with 14 people who attend Trails Carolina between 2013 and 2022 and 3 former staff members, along with the review of state inspections, reports that court filings reveal that they have been long concerned about how the children were treated at the camp. For many of the former participants who spoke to NBC News, those problems began in their first days with protocol that left them confused and scared. They described stripped searched, bathroom restrictions, and having to read upsetting letters from their parents aloud. Quote, I know if I had died on I know if I had died on my first night, I would have died believing that I was unloved and unwanted, end quote, said Rebecca Burney, 21, whose parents sent her to Trails, Carolina, the day of her 14th birthday. A 12-year-old boy does not deserve any of that, she says, end quote. Caroline, whose parents paid to have her transported by two strangers in the middle of the night at Trails, Carolina, one when she was 14, said she was, quote, in shock her first day. Quote, I've never cried so hard, she said, who attended the program in 2013. I cried because I felt betrayed. The Transylvania County Sheriff's Office identified the boy who died only by his initials, CJH, and said the February 3rd death has been investigated as a possible manslaughter. In a statement, the office said that the death, quote, appeared to be non natural, but the manner and the cause of death is still pending, end quote. So the police and all of them are saying that this isn't natural. It appears to not be natural. Crazy. The State Department of Health and Human Resources has since suspended admissions to the program until April, noting in a letter to the camp's executive director February 16th that, quote, conditions at Trails, Carolina are detrimental to the health or safety of the children in their care, end quote. All 18 children at the camp were removed the same day. The department declined to comment on the conditions at the camp, citing an ongoing investigation. Trails Carolina, a for-profit program, has said that preliminary information indicates the boy's death was accidental. That's according to Trails Carolina. In an email stated to NBC News earlier this week, Trails Carolina spokeswoman Wendy D. How do you pronounce her name? D'Alessandro offered no details about the circumstances other than to say staff members offer, quote, compassion and patience, end quote, to children when they arrive. The camp declined to comment on specific children's experiences. The former Trails Carolina participant who spoke to NBC News ranged in from 12 to 16 when they attended the program. They said the news of the child who died so early in his stay brought back memories of their first stay to Trails, Carolina, which they recalled as full of fear and humiliation. Each said that their time at the wilderness camp began with a strip search, in some cases with no underwear, by a staff member. One former staff member who worked at the camp from 2020 to 2022 and requested anonymous to be anonymous because he said he feared retaliation, said searches were conducted if the staff thought a child might have drugs or other contraband. Most children arrived with just the clothes they were wearing, but some said that they also brought personal items such as books and stuffed animals, which were promptly confiscated. the spokesperson for the company did not comment on the searchers or confiscation and said that the camp follows state regulations to, quote, ensure a safe and dignified intake process for new students, end quote. After they were searched, the former participants said staff gave them sets of hiking clothes and took them to the cabins or campsites to meet the other children. Quote, the first thing I noticed was the smell, just a putrid mix of urine and body odor, said Lily, 18, who said she was sent to Trails, Carolina in 2018 because her middle school kicked her out. She asked to only be identified by her first name to avoid damaging her college prospects. Quote, it was the worst smell I've ever smelled in my life, she continued. And then this little 10-year-old girl in my group comes up to me and says and goes, wow, you're so clean, end quote. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And look at this letter. What is this letter? A page from a letter Lily sent to her family at age 13 before spending Christmas at Trails, Carolina. Merry Christmas. Can you imagine your kid being at one of these places? Yeah, 10. Yep, 10. Uh, it says, get back, I'll make y'all oats, mac and cheese, R&B, chili, and something. Mom and dad, here's some tips to make a fire. And she just talks about the making a fire and all of that. My chili wasn't the bomb, but it was okay. I miss y'all so much. Love you guys. Love, Lily. Merry Christmas. Merry early Christmas. Lily, who was 13 at the time, said she soon learned that because staff limited the number of bathroom breaks on hikes, many children would wet themselves. The children were only able to shower about once a week, she and others recall. Trails Carolina said that children on hikes were sometimes asked to wait to take bathroom breaks and said, quote, everyone welcomes a shower and fresh clothes. Everyone is welcomed a shower and fresh clothes after a hike. I just remember thinking, where the hell am I? What on earth is this? Lily said. Uh, after Rebecca Burney arrived at the trails in 2016, she had no contact with her family for 3 long days. Finally, a staff member handed her a letter from her parents, which detailed the reasons they had sent her to the camp. Um, Rebecca said she had to read it out loud to her bunkmates, a practice the a practice the other former participants who spoke to NBC also recounted. It was basically a letter telling you everything you've done wrong and putting the blame on you. She said, it's the first time you're reading it, and the staff will tell you you have to read it word for word. 7 of the former participants who were there as recently as 2022 said on the first night, staff made children sleep in the camp called a burrito, a tarp folded over their sleeping bags and tucked in that restricted their ability to move. A staff member slept beside them. That's fucking creepy. On the tarp so they would wake up if the child tried to get out, according to a former participant and 2 other former employees. I would not want a damn adult sleeping next to my kid. That's not family. I'm just going to tell you that. Yes, Amy. Exactly. Why are these even allowed anymore? Oh my God. Tarp would make a lot of noise. Yes. Troubled with programs for youth. 2 programs in Wyoming were accused of forcing teens to do heavy farm work and using humiliation punishment. Girls alleged abuse at Circle of Hope Girls Ranch in Missouri for years. Ultimately, the owners faced 100 criminal charges. Paris Hilton joined children's rights advocates in pushing Congress to enact new federal oversight of the troubled teen industry. Utah officials ordered a for-profit academy to shut down after children died in their care. This is just this was Zoe at the camp at age 14. Said she was only allowed to communicate with her parents through letters. The staff screamed. So Nancy Gray, oh, let me show you this right here. SL, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. Thank you so much, my friend. And Amy, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. If whoever received those 2 memberships from Amy and SL, please give them a big, big, big thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. What this guy has to say here.
North Carolina. Trails Carolina at trailscarolina.com is a youth wilderness camp where basically parents pay them a bunch of money and then give them permission to legally kidnap their children in the middle of the night. Trails Carolina then takes these children into the middle of the wilderness in Transylvania County, marches them around the woods for a couple of weeks using trained staff who have been trained, according to news reports, for 3 to 6 days, who are also paid minimum wage. So I'm sure they care a lot about the children. A 12-year-old boy who had been in their care less than 24 hours was found dead on his back with his knees to the air, not wearing pants and not wearing underwear. His pants and underwear were by his shoulder. The camp counselors or whoever was watching these kids did not cooperate with police and would not tell them why this kid was not wearing pants. This is not the first child to have died in the care of Trails Carolina and their executive director, Jeremy Whitworth. They're currently being sued by former children who were in their care. They have had other children die in their care. It took 3 days to cooperate with sheriffs who were investigating why a 12-year-old boy died less than 24 hours after they got there and why that boy wasn't wearing pants or underwear. This is so intense that the FBI is helping the local sheriffs investigate. And I hope that everyone involved who was culpable rots in the way that they deserve. A 12-year-old boy was found dead, not wearing pants or underwear, at Trails Carolina.
Yes. Can you refuse to speak to police and get away with it? You can absolutely refuse to speak to police. Yep, you have the right to not speak. You have the right to be silent. I'm trying to, okay, here's the warrants, I think. Finally found them. Maybe I had it up the first time. Let's see here. Okay, here's the warrant. Okay. Here it is. Make it bigger for y'all. All right. Dear Mr. Whitworth, Jeremy Whitworth. He is the executive director, by the way, at Trails Carolina. Let me give you his address. 500 Winding Gap Road, Lake Toxaway, North Carolina, 28747, dated February 12th, 2024. Dear Mr. Whitworth, Trails Carolina is licensed and operating as a residential therapeutic camp for children and adolescents who have mental illness, developmental disabilities, or substance use disorder under Chapter 122 of North Carolina. Question. Do you think someone who is trained 3 to 6 days respectfully can actually care for someone who has mental illness, developmental disabilities, substance abuse disorders? 3 to 6 days and is paid minimum wage, and they charge them $747, I think, allegedly a day? What? Yes, all over. I can't. Okay, I digress. Okay. North Carolina General Statutes and Rules found in 10A NCAC 27G.5200. The license of Trails Carolina is issued by the state of North Carolina Department of Health and Human Resources, Division of Health Services Regulations. In addition, NCHDHHS Division of Services oversees child welfare services in North Carolina in partnership with the local county Department of Social Services. Core to the missions in the children in North Carolina to be healthy and live in a safe and appropriate placement. On Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, you notified NCDHHS that a child in your care of Trails, North Carolina died. No person should ever experience harm while in the care of a health care facility, and we take seriously our role to ensure life and safety of individuals at healthcare facilities. Our staff from NCDHSR are working jointly with local law enforcement and the Transylvania County Department of Social Services, including active oversight and providing technical assistance. Local DSS staff were on site following the day, February 4th, but Trails Carolina prevented access to the camp's children until February 6th. They didn't let him talk to him till 2 days later. Oh my God. Local and state staff have been on site since, including unannounced visits made this past weekend. These agencies have been focused on ensuring the safety of the remaining youth while diligently investigating the child's death and reviewing all aspects of the camp's operations. I am so pissed about this, y'all. While these investigations are ongoing, NCDHHS has several measures that Trails Carolina must put into place that ensure any children remaining in the camp are safe and protected. Several of these actions have already been implemented by Trails Carolina as part of the investigation, and those remaining should be immediately implemented immediately. They must cease new admissions until NCDHSR completes its investigation. Discontinue use of bivy bags for any purpose for all children or adults at the camp through this conclusive through this through the conclusion of the investigation in this matter. Underline at least one staff member to remain awake while one or more children are asleep. Staff who is in the cabin uh, where the decedent resided cannot return to the cabin or campsites. Permit unlimited or unannounced access by local County, DSS staff, law enforcement, NCDHSR investigators to the cabin campsite staff and clients. Yep, they tried to prevent them. Provided by 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time morning, Monday through Sunday, to the Transylvania County Department of Social Services, DSS, a list of clients, their group assignments, and location of Trails Carolina, and whether a restraint of any type was used against the child in the previous 24 hours reporting period. Thoroughly complete the updated incident report provided by NCDHHS in accordance with the incident response and reporting our IRIS manual found. Provide NCDHSR and Transylvania DSS with names and contact information for parents and guardians for all children at the camp, including their state or country of residence. Further, we want to remind you that the use of restrictive interventions must be reported as outlined in the IRIS manual, of which Trails Carolina is subject and must adhere to. The recommended list of actions is not exhaustive, and we encourage you to implement any other that you deem necessary and appropriate to ensure the safety of your children. Lastly, the list of actions do not preclude, delay, or subside any license actions NCDHS may have during the course of the investigation. 2 warrants, a total of 23 pages, now detail what Transylvania County detectives found when they responded to the February 3rd call. Let me see if that'll. There is 23 pages. I don't know if it's. They are not cooperating. They were not cooperating with this at all. Investigators seized 20 items. Among them included laptops, computers, files, phones, name tags from bulletin boards, employee files, and sleeping bag, the boys' belongings, and binders. I hope to hell they took their phones. I really hope they took their phones. Hey, Jude, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Thank you, my love. I really, really do appreciate it. If you receive that membership, please thank St. Jude. St. Jude. Hey, Jude. My still. Hey, Jude. St. Jude. So, this is crazy. Water. Man alive. It's like unescapable. Yes. Saint Hey Jude. Yeah, V. Oakley. Saint Hey Jude. That's what it is. Trails is aware of the contents of the search warrant, and we are saddened for the family to have the details made public. The search warrant documents contain misleading statements. There are details we will not address at this time out of the respect for the family and the investigation that is still underway. We can address the statement that Trails prevented children from speaking to investigators. Trails asked parents permission for any children involved to speak with law enforcement and state regulation agencies. We are compliant to each parent's preference as we are required to do by law. Children were moved from the area to protect them from seeing what was happening. Now, Nancy Grace talked a little bit about this. I want to give her credit. Link is in the description if you want to listen to her full program on this. Just insanity.
A so-called wellness camp in North Carolina. We find out there have been multiple claims of sex assault on children. Children.
Can y'all hear that?
You know, my parents worked so hard. My mom is a bank teller working her way up the ladder. My dad working a night shift for the railroad. They had to work hard just to pay for 4-H camp. And I remember it was $36 and something cents. Yes, that had to be taken out of the grocery money.
I went to 4-H camp too. I had fun at 4-H camp. Yeah, she is, Tar. Let me find it here.
I remember it happening. So I could go to 4-H camp. You send your children to camp and you think you're doing something good for them, giving them enrichment, making new friends, going for wellness. This boy is dead. And I want answers, not a bunch of BS about a panic attack.
You don't die from a panic attack. You might feel like you're going to die. Yeah, there was church camp. Yeah. Jackie, you're funny. That's funny. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can.
Therapy camp in North froth
Here it
about
is.
old, stiff, and to allow investigators to
Here it
put
is.
On stories and on Sirius XM 111.
Wait.
First of all, what do we know happened? Listen.
The Transylvania County Sheriff's Office said when they arrived at Trails, Carolina for an unresponsive participant, medics found evidence that CPR had been performed, but the child appeared deceased for some time. But now, in an odd twist of trust, the Wilderness Therapy Camp in North Carolina is refusing to allow investigators to talk to staff or juveniles present when the 12-year-old died. According to a search warrant, the boy suffered a panic attack the night he arrived at the camp, and the next morning he was found cold, stiff, and frothing at the mouth. Not being able to talk to staff or campers, it is unclear what caused the boy to present with frothing from the mouth. According to an affidavit from the detective that got the search warrant, froth about the mouth could indicate he ingested some sort of poison.
All right. So what could have happened to him? He could have either been poisoned, right? He could have been poisoned. He could have been, I wondered if he could have been strangled or if something was like wrapped around his throat. Forcibly sedated. That's a thought, Miss Piggy. CPR was done, but he had rigor mortis. He had been dead a minimum of 2 hours. Yes. He had petechia. Yep. I wonder when he was having that panic attack. Oh, he always late. How do I become a member via iPhone? Is I see you in here? Let me see here 1 second. Can you drop iPhone link? But why naked? So there is this thing, and Nancy Grace talks about it in this in her podcast. Sometimes if you get like really cold, your body can think it's actually hot, but you would normally pull your shirt off first, like she mentions. This was a perfectly healthy 12-year-old boy. I see he's going to drop a link. Hypoxia. Feels like there's fire. Yeah. But generally you pull your shirt off first, right? 1 second.
Guys, I have an all-star panel. And what led you body
1 second.
and got in their car.
I understand why
Hold on.
on that night, the night that CJH died at Lake Toxaway. Go ahead, doctor. Thank you.
If he was cold and stiff at 7:45 a.m. as it was reported, then that means he had to have been dead at midnight when he was quote unquote having a panic attack.
Oh, bingo. Bingo. You hear that? You hear that? Something happened. Something happened at midnight. And in my opinion, whoever was taking care of him that night needs to answer some questions. Need to answer some questions. He was cold. And had rigor mortis. Something is off here. And I think this kid wasn't having it, right? He may have been extra aggressive, extra scared. He may have had mental problems. I don't know. We don't know. We don't even know his name. We just know his initials. Oh, Tar Heel, absolutely. They did have to sign off. They absolutely did. And they said he had a panic attack at midnight. They individually check on them. At 3 a.m. he was checked on, and 6 a.m. he was checked on. And 7:45 a.m. he's dead. He could not have been alive at 3 a.m. in my opinion. He could not have been alive at 6 a.m. in my opinion. Always late. Thank you for becoming a member, my friend. I really do appreciate you. Yes. And I feel so bad for his family. I know that to be honest with you, I don't fault the parents personally. I don't. I know some people can be they can think differently, but I do think that the parents think they are doing the right thing for their child. I mean, they're spending tens of thousands of dollars. Right? So he had a counselor sleeping next to him. He was supposed to. He's supposed to have a counselor sleeping right next to him. Naked from the waist down and legs in the air. Yes. Yep. But I know that they must feel guilty and horrible now. Their child left perfectly healthy and came back dead.
Oh, let me clear something up. Nick Oxner joining us, WBTV. Was he cold and stiff when LE law enforcement got there? Or was he cold and stiff when counselors found him?
Listen to this right here.
And how long was the delay, if any, when they called sheriff? Because you were telling me about Alec Lansing, how sheriffs weren't called for at least 12 plus hours. How long did it take them upon discovery of CJH's dead body? Did they call sheriffs?
Well, that's why I think the detail about Alec Lansing's death and the delay is important here.
Nancy. We only know what he was like when he was found by first responders, where they said rigor mortis had already set in. He was cold and stiff. We don't actually have a clear understanding of when, or a clear answer to when he was actually discovered by camp counselors yet, because again, we have two facts here that don't really square based on what the doctor's telling us, right? We know that he was in rigor mortis by the time first responders show up, about 7:45, 8 a.m. But we also have camp counselors saying they checked on him at midnight, 3 a.m., and 6 a.m.
Impossible. Nope. The math ain't mathing. I don't care how you cut it. The math ain't mathing. He was stiff and cold. I'd like to point out there's zero way he could have been found cold and stiff and frothing at the mouth. Impossible. He could have been found cold and stiff with froth around his mouth. That's true. Yes. Coexist. You're right. You're right. Yes. He probably had froth around his mouth, not frothing of the mouth, because yeah. That's a good point. I see what is wrong with these parents paying tons of money to hand over their children to total strangers. I know. Yeah. Frothing of the mouth is rather common. It's for certain
And hopefully what we, get after the investigation is an explanation on how those two facts can square.
That is a lie. They don't square. Counselors cannot check on him and he be alive at 6 a.m. I believe it was 6 a.m. They said they checked on him, Sid, and then he be in full rigor and cold to the touch at 7:45. That's impossible. And Nick Oxney, you're telling me that's when LE or first responders, law enforcement or first responders got there at 7:45, which means counselors had to find him before.
Yes, over 22,000 a month. Yes, and I think minimum they normally stay is 2 months. 2 months. And remember, it's an outdoor wilderness, right? So it doesn't if they're paying their employees minimum wage and they're in the outdoors a lot, I'm sure the overhead's not that high, right? Yes, Don. And it doesn't buy happiness. No. I never did understand these kind of boot camps and how parents could send their kids there. There's no way. There's no way I could do it. Oh, well, the staff members get paid minimum wage, Spirit, there. They get paid minimum wage there. Nancy Grace also talks to another victim of this. Yes, the non-professionals not making more than $10 an hour know there ain't much overhead. Yeah. You got kids, you got sleeping bags, you're in the outdoors camping, making fires, right? It's like camping.
Before that, he could not, Dr. Todd Barr, be in full rigor in less than an hour and a half if they checked on him at 6.
There's no way. It's just not. It's physiologically impossible.
28 degrees, Doc. 28 degrees that morning.
And here's another
28 degrees. He was sleeping on the floor.
Interesting. I don't know what the frothing is all about. You can get pulmonary edema from hypothermia, from drowning, heart failure.
There you go again. Pulmonary edema. What's that?
That's when your lungs fill up with fluid after you die and you get frothing of the mouth.
That's still inconsistent, doctor. That takes a period of time for pulmonary edema to occur, number one, and two, for it to go up your throat and come out of your mouth and nose. That takes additional time. It's not going to happen in an hour and a half.
No.
It's not going to happen in an hour and a half. Adam, they claim they are. Pay me $10,000 a month and I'll take care. Yeah, I mean, he had to have been removed from the cocoon to see the legs in the air. The restricted space would mean he passed on the inside and me there. Most jobs here start at 15 to 20 bucks. They said minimum wage is what they got paid. You couldn't pay me to sleep on the floor like that for minimum wage. It could be in a system. There could be something in a system, but someone is going to jail. Someone or someone's. Because there have been a lot of different people dying in these camps. So if you want to tweet Paris Hilton, tweet Paris Hilton as well, because something is wrong here.
For Trails Carolina operated, you can see that trailhead sign right there. And if you go up above it, you see two posts where it looks like a sign's been taken down and replaced with a no trespassing sign. We're on a kind of a dead end road here in the middle of the North Carolina woods. There was another sign noting Trails Carolina just off the road here at the entrance, but that's gone now too. We're here today because we're continuing our reporting into Trails Carolina. You know, regulators with the State Department of Health and Human Services ordered that all children had to be removed from the Trails program this past Friday. Today is Monday. We're continuing to hear from people who went to this camp, who are telling us their stories, their allegations of abuse and neglect. We're hearing from former staff members who are repeating some of the same allegations that we first heard when we started investigating Trails all the way back in 2021. But now, what we're also hearing, in addition to these stories and these allegations, are questions of why it took so long, and most importantly and sadly, took another child dying at this facility for regulators to step in.
Children.
So those are the questions we're continuing
I guess the first time they didn't step in.
to ask.
Why?
And continuing to push both regulators.
I mean, listen, if a child dies at a facility, they need to be shut down. Period.
And people at Trails Carolina for explanations. We've also been at the courthouse today checking on any new legal filings. So far, nothing, but our investigation continues. Hey, I'm Chief Investigator.
So someone said, I just had the comment pulled up a second ago, that, you know, if Dirt Bike Mom, she said, if he really did have a panic attack, make someone have him, I think she means did someone have, give him meds? Could there have even been someone out there, some worker who, with an unruly child, allegedly give them something to calm them down, to make them sleep, to make them be quiet? You're in North Carolina and you haven't heard about this. Well, Chrissy, not a lot. Thank God Nancy Grace did this. And I think I'm the first YouTuber that it's not very popular right now, but I wanted to speak about it because it needs to be spoken about. Like, someone needs to talk about this. I can't imagine those parents. I would be spitting nails if it were my child. Indie girl, that's what I said. If I was taken from my house in the middle of the night at 12 years old, they would have had the roughest kid you've ever seen. I mean, because I would have clawed somebody. I would have flogged them like a chicken. They should all know CPR. Well, they say they do, but you know, nobody. Listen, there isn't nobody is going to take care of your children like you are. Period. Nobody is ever going to take care of your children like you. Guys, I have probably 10 cases, 8 or 10 cases that I can talk about right now with either missing children or children that have been unalived by a parent or guardian. It is, I don't know what the hell is going on. Yep. Baby kisses. Was talking about that earlier. I was looking at that earlier. Let me see here. This 8-year-old. Here, I'll tell you about it right now. This house right here. 8-year-old found dead, person of interest in custody. Police investigating a report of a missing child on Saturday found an 8-year-old dead. Police investigating a report of a missing child on Saturday found an 8-year-old dead. WKOW said the Rock County Sheriff's Office found a child inside the home after they were called shortly after 6 p.m., but did not say if it was the same home where the call about the missing was originated. Deputies took, quote, a person of interest, end quote, into custody, but absolutely no other information was released other than to say there is no threat to the public. Police have not said how the child died or how the person of interest might be connected to the child's death or whether there was actually a missing person. I mean, could you tell us something here? That would be great. That would be great. Child found dead in Rock County home. Sheriff's Office investigates.
Looking for a safe place for
1 second. Let me wait for this. They're not giving any information on this whatsoever. 5500 block of West Miles Road in town of Fulton. Hold on, here it is.
Out of Rock County. A child was found dead in a home last night in the 5500 block of West Miles Road. Officials tell us this is in the town of Fulton. Chloe Morrissey spent all day in the area talking to neighbors. She has you covered on why they call this incident shocking.
Hours after a child was found dead inside of a Rock County home, officers are still actively patrolling the scene.
At around 6:13 p.m. Saturday evening, the Rock County Sheriff's Office responded to a missing child on the 5500 block of West Miles Road in the town of Fulton. That is when officers found an 8-year-old child dead inside of a home. The property has since been blocked off with tape as officers remain on the scene. Traffic is still being let through the residential area. The Rock County Sheriff's Office says they have a person of interest in custody and that there is no immediate threat to the public. A couple living just a few doors down from the scene tells me they were shocked when the news broke and that they knew the family, but not very well. They have been here for 15 years and say nothing like this has ever happened before.
The investigation is still ongoing. 27 News has you covered on this developing story as more information is released. Reporting from the town of Fulton, Chloe Morrissey, 27 News.
Guys, this is just getting ridiculous. Probably going to be doing a live on this here in a little bit. And talking about some more cases. There is a lot going on right now. I know. Where did they find her at? Do you know where they found her? Sebastian, I think, was parents. Yeah. I heard that they found her. Oh, Nurse Sandy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, honey. It gets better. It gets better, I promise. Did you see the one last week? But the guy stole the vehicle not knowing a child was in the back. Thankfully, he surrendered. Yes. Yes. In the water under a bridge, Justin. Oh, I need to message her. LB's my friend. We've been friends since the not the Quentin Simon days, the Marvon McCrae. So I don't know, man. Yes, the Red River. Oh. Yeah, Brandon Clark was his name. Yeah. 11-month-old. I posted dad. Her mom was drunk. I've got a case right now. You know those boyfriends of those moms, right? You know the boyfriends of the moms. Well, this young woman killed her infant to show her boyfriend that she loved him more than the child. Yeah, that she loved her boyfriend more than the child, so she killed her child. Is there stragglers on J Frey still? Please stop by always and put some praying in. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you so much. I'm going to be back at 9:30, about an hour and 10 minutes from now. We'll be talking about some cases that we've been covering. Going to be talking about Madeline Soto and a couple new cases that I'm going to run by you guys, that some craziness, to say the least. So I'll be back at 9:30 Eastern, about an hour from now. Okay. Please share this out, because this needs to be shared out. You're right, Carla. You're right. Thank you. Appreciate y'all so much. Elle's hubby was with her on a live today. He was very supportive. Yeah. She's got a good husband. Okay. No stragglers. All right. Good. All right. Thank you, guys. Love you all. I'll see you guys in about an hour from now. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.